Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss the topics free space radar range equation, maximum range ambiguities, and pulse repetition frequency and range ambiguity. So we are going to start our lecture from deriving an equation for range in case of free space. So we normally say it is a simple form of radar range equation or free space radar range equation. The radar range equation basically relates the range of the radar to the characteristics of the transmitter and the receiver antenna, target and the environment, that is the medium. Free space indicates no obstacle between the radar antenna and the target. Basically free space actually means that the radar set and the target are isolated in an unbounded empty space. It basically indicates that there are no obstacle between radar antenna and the target. Also, the free space medium is transparent, means no absorption of electromagnetic waves and homogeneous with respect to the refractive index at the radar system. Now, if we denote the total power that a radar system can transmit is PT, and also we assume an isotropic antenna. Here isotropic antenna or omnidirectional antenna means an antenna which is going to transmit equally in all the direction, and at a distance r we are saying there is a target. This is the target and this is isotropic antenna. Now if we assume PT is the total power, that is the power density at a distance r from an isotropic antenna can be written as PT divided by 4 pi r square, where PT is total power associated with this transmitter, which is isotropic transmitter or isotropic radiator, and 4 pi r square, where r is this distance between target and the source, and 4 pi r square is basically the surface area. If we assume that there is a imaginary sphere at a distance r, taking this as the center at a distance r, we form a circle, imagine the circle here like this, around this, then that look like a sphere. We can consider it just like there is some source or radiator at the center of a football. So at any point on the surface of football, the power received or the power density will be denoted by this formula PT divided by the surface area, and that is termed as power density in watt per meter square. This is equation number 1. Now here we have considered an isotropic antenna, but normally or practically radar employ directive antenna to direct the transmitted power P into a particular direction. The gain of the antenna is G, which is a measure of increased power radiated in direction of target as compared with the power that would have been radiated by an isotropic antenna. So this is the definition of gain. Gain of antenna is a measure of increased power radiated in the direction of target as compared with the power that would have been radiated from an isotropic antenna. So if we take gain into consideration, then this equation number 1 becomes like this: pt multiplied by g upon 4 pi r square watt per meter square. Now this is equation number 2. Now some portion of the radiated power is intercepted by the target and re-radiated back in the direction of radar. Now what we have assumed कि this was the radar system. This is directing some power in this direction. Now this target is going to intercept some power that is directed by this transmitter, and then that target will re-radiate that power in all the direction. So if we consider that the target has intercepted some power and we assume the target is having an area sigma, then total power intercepted by the radar can be written as PTG upon 4 pi r square. This was equation number 2, multiplied by the sigma, which is target area. So the total power intercepted by the target will becomes PTG sigma over 4 pi r square. Now we, after intercepting the power, we assume कि now this target is acting as a source, and now this target is having a total power as shown by equation 3. We assume this is the total power which is there with the target, and now this target can act as a source, and again we assume कि this is the target. Now we can say this is a source of this much power, PTG sigma over 4 pi r square, and now this is going to re-radiate the power. Now we take this at the center and we assume an imaginary circle. Similarly we have considered in the earlier part of the equation. Now we assume this at the center and this at the surface. So some power of this target is going towards this transceiver section or the radar system. So we can say power density of echo signal. Now we are discussing the echo signal at a radar station is equation number, this was equation number 3, divided by the surface area, that is 4 pi r square. So total power density that is received at the radar station will be PTG sigma over 4 pi r square divided by 4 pi r square. So this equation takes the form PTG sigma over 4 pi r square whole square. This much power will be the at the radio station. Now the power received by the radar, we can have PR equals to PTG AE. Now AE is the effective area of the receiving antenna, because we are assuming this now as a source of radiator. So this antenna, this receiver is having an antenna whose area is AE, effective area is AE. This is the effective area of the radar receiver system. So the total power received by the radar can be written as PT, this equation number 4, multiplied by the effective area. So our equation becomes PR equals to PT G AE sigma divided by 4 pi r whole square. This will be the total power we have received at the radar system. Now we are going to see a term that is maximum radar range, that is R maximum. Now here what is this actually means R maximum? This is the distance beyond which the target cannot be detected. When received echo signal power PR just equal to the minimum detectable signal, that becomes S minimum. So if we see in this equation number 5, this was the power received, yeah, echo signal power received by the radar system, and this was the range. So corresponding to maximum value of R, we can say we are having minimum value of PR, and we are going to see the distance, the maximum distance beyond which the target cannot be detected. So if we say this R is R maximum, then we can say this PR will be P minimum. Minimum power we are going to receive corresponding to the maximum value of this range. So here we are going to replace PR by S minimum, that is minimum detectable signal, and R by R maximum, and put these two values in equation number 5. Then we will get an equation like this: S minimum equals to PTG AE sigma 4 pi square multiplied by R raised to power 4, and this is the maximum value of R. So from this we can say R maximum will be equals to PTG AE sigma over 4 pi square S minimum and whole power 1 by 4. So this will become the basic equation of free space radar range equation, that is equation number 6. Now we are saying this is a simple form because here we have considered free space. We are saying that there are no obstacle between transmitter and the receiver, transmitter and the basically the target, and that means we are assuming a noise free environment, or we are saying noise is neglected for the calculation of radar range in this particular case. That is why we are saying it is a simple form of radar range equation. Now from antenna theory we know the formula for gain is 4 pi AE. A is again here is the effective area divided by the lambda square. Lambda is the operating wavelength. So gain is written as gain equals to 4 pi A by lambda square. Now in this equation, if we replace this gain, this G, by equation 7, then we get R maximum equals to PT. This is the formula for the gain. We have replaced gain by this whole term multiplied by sigma multiplied by AE divided by 4 pi square S minimum and whole power 1 by 4, and this is equals to PT AE square sigma over 4 pi lambda square S minimum whole power 1 by 4. This becomes another equation for the range. When we are not provided with the gain factor, then we can use this particular equation. And again, if from antenna theory we also know that effective aperture or effective area is equals to gain multiplied by lambda square divided by 4 pi. Now in some cases if we are not provided with the effective area value, then we can calculate the range equation by this formula also. Here we have replaced AE by this term. In this particular equation we have replaced this. So our equation becomes R maximum equals to PT G square lambda square sigma over 4 pi cube into S minimum whole power 1 by 4. So equation 8 and 9, these are alternative form of maximum radar range equation. So basically now we have three different forms. One is equation number 6, which is simple form. Another, this is also simple form, equation number 8, and this equation number 9. So these are three basic equation, and we have to remember these three equation because some numerical part require these equations. Now next part of our lecture is maximum unambiguous range. Now what is this maximum unambiguous range? The rate at which the pulse may be transmitted is determined by the longest range at which target are expected. Now this is simple, that the rate at which pulse are transmitted, that is the PRF, that is determined by the largest distance where we are going to expect our target may be present. Now if pulse repetition frequency PRF is too high, then echo signals from target and ambiguities in measurement of range might result. Now we say if PRF is high, now pulse repeat number of pulses that we are transmitting, if that is very high, then we can say if that is too high, then we are having ambiguity in range. This will be the major drawback of high PRF. On the other hand, if our PRF is high, then there are less chances of blind speeds. We will discuss blind speed in our upcoming lectures. And on the other hand, if our pulse repetition frequency is very less, it is low, in that case we can improve upon our this factor, that is ambiguity in range. But on the other hand, if we decrease our PRF up to a certain limit, then we are going to face the problems of blind speeds. So from this we concluded that if our PRF is too high, then the advantage is we are having no blind speeds, but the disadvantage is we are having ambiguity in range. On the other hand, if our PRF is low, in that case advantage will be we are having very less range ambiguities or no range ambiguity, but the disadvantage will be we are having the chances of blind speeds. Now echoes that arrive after transmission of next pulse are called the second time around echo signals. The echo signal which are coming after our expected time or waiting time, those echo pulses are termed as second time around echo signal. And range beyond which targets appear as second time around echo signal, that range is maximum unambiguous range. So normally for faithful deduction and calculation part, our target should lie within maximum unambiguous range. This can be thought like this: this is the transmitted pulse and this is the on time where we have the time up to which we have transmitted our pulse, and this is off time, means we are waiting from starting from this to this point, we are waiting for the echo pulse. And if there is no echo pulse within this, then we can say we are going to transmit our second pulse. This is the second pulse we have transmitted, and again we are going to wait. Now this is the target we encountered after transmitting the second pulse. So this target is termed as second time around target, and the echo pulse which are coming from this target will be termed as second time around echo signals. So from here we see the total time T starting from this to this. This T is basically sum of T on time. This is T on time. From this to this is on, and from this to this is off. So T on plus T off, this becomes total time duration. And this, if we take in term of frequency 1 upon PRF, that will be T equals to 1 upon PRF. But we know R maximum, that is Ct by 2, and if we put the value of T here, that is PRF, then we get C, that maximum value of TR, and maximum value that can be given by R unambiguous range becomes C upon twice of PRF. We have replaced this T by this PRF, 1 upon PRF. So our maximum unambiguous range becomes C upon 2 times the value of PRF. So from this equation we can simply say that if we increase our PRF, then the value of this will decreases, and on the other hand if we decrease this, then our unambiguous range will increase. So we have to take care of this formula so that we do not observe any ambiguity in calculation of the range. Now next part of our lecture is pulse repetition frequency and the range ambiguity. What should be the PRF and range ambiguities? Now PRF is determined primarily by maximum range at which target are expected. If PRF is made too high, the likelihood of obtaining target echoes from the wrong pulse transmission is increased. Each signal received after an interval exceeding pulse repetition period are called multiple time around echo signal, that I have already told you. From this multiple time around echo signal, and they can result in enormous or confusing range measurements. Now this can be understood by this diagram. Here we have considered the 3 target labeled A, B and C. This is A, B and C. Target A is located within maximum unambiguous range, that is this unambiguous range. This target A is lying within unambiguous range. Target B in this example is at a distance greater than R unambiguous. This is R unambiguous, and this B is target. Target is beyond this or at a distance greater than this R unambiguous range, but less than twice of R. This is twice of R unambiguous range. And the target C, this target C is at a distance greater than twice of R unambiguous. This is from this to this we are having twice of R unambiguous, and this target C is lying beyond the range which is more than twice of R unambiguous but less than thrice of R unambiguous. This is 3 times the unambiguous range. So we are having 3 targets at a different distance from the source. Now the appearance of these targets, the appearance of these 3 target A, B and C on A scope is sketched here. This is the appearance of these 3 target on any A scope, that is the, you can say, the indicator or the output device. Now the question arises how to rectify this problem of range ambiguity. One of the possible solution to distinguish multiple time around echo from unambiguous echo is to operate with varying PRF. We can increase or decrease the rate at which we are transmitting our pulses. Echo signals from an unambiguous range target will appear at same place on A scope on each sweep. As we can see, this remains there, this remains stationary for each sweep, whether we are transmitting higher PRF or we are transmitting lower PRF, because this was the target which was lying within the unambiguous range initially. No matter whether the PRF is modulated or not, however, echoes from multiple time around targets will spread over a finite range. This we can see This was the C target. We can see the spreading of the pulse when we vary the PRF. Similarly, this was also the case with B, the spreading of the pulse which we get at the A scope. So this spreading indicates that there are some ambiguities related to the calculation of these particular target range B and C, and because this is stationary, this is constant, this was not moving, so we can say we are having no ambiguity in calculation of this target range. So this indicates this fluctuation, this spreading of pulse indicates that there are range ambiguities which we have to resolve. The number of separate PRF will depend upon degree of the multiple time targets. If we are having second time around pulse, then we can have two different frequencies. If we have 3 time around echo pulses, then we can have 3 different frequencies, and so on. Second time around target needs only 2 separate repetition frequencies in order to be resolved. So by varying the PRF, either we can increase the number of pulses we are transmitting, or by decreasing the number of pulses that we are transmitting, we can resolve the problem of these type of range ambiguities. So this is all for the today's lecture. Have a nice day.